You're gonna have to excuse me. I don't feel terribly hot right now. I'm in my car. But with that being said, let's figure out how to build your wealth in your 20s. I'm 25, so what do I have to say, that you haven't heard 100 times? I don't know. It's just my opinions. 25, I just turned 25, a month or two ago. But I got $278,000. I have splits of it, and you can see the growth in the last couple of months. The recaps. So this is kind of what I do. Shouldn't be terribly simple because I feel like the most simple things, or this should be as simple as possible. So early sacrifice for future freedom. I was a little, I was a little aggressive when I put this. Uh, I got so risk averse and I got so terrified to start putting into the market. I saved up $100,000 in cash. Now I had probably $40,000 in retirement and stock, but I got really scared because the market kept going up, but I kept hearing bubble, bubble, bubble. Luckily, it went back. It was 2025 in like the spring when she did come down to levels that it was the year before. That's when I dumped in about $70,000. But try not to time the market. You've heard that a lot. Don't time the market as time in the market. But that's what I did. And then I guess last year, at the same time that I did that, I dumped $100,000 in cash, and then I had $58,000 of investments. Here we go. That's at least what I did. It shouldn't be the goal. I have gamma. I think your actual goal should be saving $10,000. Now, if you have your emergency fund of $3,000 to $4,000 and then there's no debt on top of it, then okay, I'm open to start investing, but I think so much of it is that we don't get caught up in the, oh, I'm investing right now, or I'm investing $100 a month or something like that. I think the biggest thing that we could focus on is the ability to save money and then live very cheaply or frugally or cheap ass, however you want to put it, because that's what's going to allow you to invest for $100 a month rather than $100 a month. So here are the traps that people fall into. I have men in there because I'm assuming most of the fan base are going to be guys like myself. But if you're a lady, I'm pretty sure it changes a little bit. But I don't know what ladies think like. So here's for the dudes. Cars. Guys like cars. Obviously, they can become expensive, especially the more you get. Get a more expensive car, more expensive for repairs, parts, insurance, the whole thing. Tabs. Nobody ever thinks of tabs. But yeah, cars are expensive. I usually try to get one at least 10 years old. That way in Minnesota, my tabs are $30 each year. And then when you buy it, it's not going to be as high of a dollar value. So you're not going to have to pay as much sales tax. Relationships. Now this comes with opportunity cost, with time putting into the relationship and then also going on dates. It's fantastic. And, it's really nice when I see my grandparents or other people in church who married their high school sweetheart or got married in their 20s. That's sweet. If you have that, good for you, man. Don't give it up. You don't want to throw away a relationship you've had for years just, for temporary stuff, and then it takes a long time to build that back. So relationships I'm very flexible with based on the situations. Alcohol, not only does it spend a lot of money on the weekends and stuff, but also there's a big chance that something bad's going to happen. I forget, there's a statistic on how many people are murdered when there's alcohol involved, and it's astronomical. That DUIs, people getting in fights, just regular fist fights outside of a bar turn into curb stomps. There's a whole lot of things. So there's opportunity cost, there's a higher risk, and it costs money. So alcohol is a big one. I didn't put drugs on here, but obviously that's a big one to avoid as well. And convenience. If you're getting DoorDash, that's a big one. Subscriptions, impulse purchases, all this little stuff adds up. All this could be added to your investment or just stacking cash, because I don't think there's anything wrong with stacking cash. The pyramid principle. So the way I think about it is the more money I save right now in my 20s, the larger my pyramid base is going to be and the taller that it can grow, right? I don't know if anybody else came up with the analogy. I think I came up with it, but I'm sure somebody else has used it. I really like the analogy because if you have a really small base, you can't go very high. It's going to become unstable. And the larger that your base is, now I probably sound stupid, but yeah, then you can grow it taller and it's going to be more stable. And the thing that's making it go taller is the compound interest that's going to help you out, which you can only get through time. Budget evolution from extreme to sustainable. Before my 20s, I had no budget. I was extremely minimalist. I didn't buy anything. I ate chicken, rice, vegetables, and a hard boiled egg basically every day. I chose to be homeless. I would sleep at friends' house, in my car, in the office that I was working at one of my jobs. Anything to save money. I wouldn't spend money on jack. My rent, I guess during that time, was I had membership at like Fitness for 10. That's where I would take my shower at. I live in Minnesota, so it'd be cold, so I put my food in the trunk during the winter. It would freeze. Then I go to the office, I go to a buddy's place, heat it up. I'd go cook at a friend's place and have, I don't know, could be 10 days of food there because it's going to freeze. And that's what I did. I saved every dollar that I could. I think I graduated school at somewhere $15,000 in cash. And then the next year I had 30,000, and really anything I could do to save money. And also I didn't invest during that. I put a little bit. I was putting I think $580 into a Roth account, and then I started that off with $2,500. So that was a good start, but not talking serious cash then. 20 to 22. I was like, okay, let's not be homeless anymore, but let's track every single expense. I was huge into Dave Ramsey. I read his book. I still think that budgeting is a big factor of what people should be doing, and the very average person should be doing that as well. Started experimenting with budgets. How much should I spend here and how much should I spend there? I had a very irregular schedule based off, I had a couple different jobs. Some of them required me to travel. I was in school, so budgeting was pretty hard then, not only for the expenses because of the traveling, but also because of the income, because I wasn't working a 9 to 5, and it was just all over. So that was kind of difficult to do. And I was learning my spending habits, how much I would spend, what was I spending money on, which was really just chicken, rice, vegetables, rent, gas, and that's about it. Now, over 22, I started an automated system. So I didn't start at 22, I started at 23. I was putting like I said before, I had $100,000 in cash. So 2025 is when I dumped a whole bunch of that cash in, and that's when I started that $4,000 a month into investments, because I had probably 30 in cash, and I was trying to liquidate that down. So I was doing $4,000 a month, $10,000 in my savings account, and I was using that basically. I was trying to get at least $5,000 to hit my bank account. If it got under 4, then my bank account would go under 10, and then that'd be like, okay, you're spending too much, You spent $1,000. And usually I try to keep the spending between $1,000 to $1,400. That's what it's been like the last 2 years probably, because my lifestyle is very consistent. Hang on, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Basically, I don't have a budget. I have very consistent lifestyle, and I do basically the same thing. So there's not really much change in my spending, and I use my bank account in a consistent growth that kind of matches to my income in order to track it loosely. And then some of it strategic splurges. So if I have like 4 days of food or 5 days of food and I run out and I have a trip going on in 2 days, that in between day, instead of cooking, another meal prep, excuse me, I will go to Chipotle and I get, a burrito bowl for $9.05 or $9.55 with a tortilla on the side. Excuse me. That's kind of what I would do. Otherwise, if I'm by my house and there's impossible to find parking, which is why I'm making a parking app, which is also shown on the video. Instead of spending 30 minutes or even sometimes 40 minutes trying to find a parking spot, or 20 minutes to find a parking spot and 20 minutes walking there and then back the next day, I just get a parking spot. It costs like $1, saves me an extra 20 minutes sometimes, and that's my strategic spending. So let's see, I evolved from restricting myself to a whole bunch toward basically creating an automated system where I'm extremely consistent, and I don't know, I think my spending habits are pretty good. I don't have a budget, which Dave Ramsey, Caleb Hammer, Graham Stephan probably get on me for, but I don't know, it seems to be working so far. Dollar cost average. So this is the dollar cost average. I started off with throwing in I kind of just explained this, but $60,000, $70,000 in the stock market over like a month span. then doing $4,000 a month consistently. After that, it broke down to like 15% on one job, $580 a month in retirement, 250. No, actually it wasn't 250. It was 500 every Monday into the S&P, and then I think 250 into the Nasdaq. I stopped that now, just because one, stopped the dealership, and then also I just got another job. But then also the market's kind of high, so I actually sold $15,000 worth of stock within the last 30 days here, and I'm kind of taking a pause on that. And then, like I was saying before, $10,000 in savings for emergencies, opportunities. Right now, I got 35 to 40 in a couple different accounts, but that's what I have in cash right now. But I still have $10,000 in my savings account, which is what I do my tracking on. The debt philosophy. I've never had any personal debt unless you count like credit cards, which are paid off at the end of each month. I've got the automated system on there, but I've never had a loan before. It just gives me peace of mind. It's something less to think about. I try to think about the least amount of things that I have to, unless it's to, go towards the goal. So I wear black pants and a black shirt every day. Whenever I go shopping, I get an 8-pack of black shirts. I don't know, 1 or 2 pairs of black sweatpants, and then that's it. Strategic exceptions. So consider debt for only a primary residence. I don't know what this is actually. But what I can do here is actually not there. Peace of mind priority. I don't know what this strategic exceptions is. I made Gamma with this, and I give it a bunch of notes. I don't really revise these too much because there's not much of a following. And then also I just got a lot of stuff to do in order to actually make progress towards the goals. But let's skip that one. Let's do peace of mind priority. I own everything outright, and it gives me flexibility because I know I don't have to make any monthly payments besides like car insurance and your rent and stuff. But I don't know. I don't go for any like quick rich or get rich quick schemes. Or I put $1,500 in crypto, which is, I don't know, less than 1% of the whole net worth. I'm much more inclined to slower net. Oh man, I'm starting to stumble. I apologize, guys. Slower net worth growth is worth avoiding the risk, which is why I put the majority of it in indexes. I've only had a couple in the largest tech companies, but I still don't do any smaller ones. Or I tried that when I was like 18, 19, and they both went bad. And then after that, I'm just like, oh, big indexes, biggest companies around. I don't want to have any risk, and it seems to go well right now. I might not hit a mega jackpot, but it's very consistent, and I know that I'm going to reach my goals. I don't have to try to do it really quick. Also, I kind of like the journey as well. Kind of suffer through it and makes you appreciate it more. If you want to do what I do, no matter where you are, this is what I would do. If you have less than $10,000, I would save up $10,000 as fast as possible. In my opinion, it's going to help you out by instilling the practices that you need to have every day to start actually saving up a whole bunch of money. Not even worry about the investing right now. If something happens, if you get in a car accident, you got a medical thing, something goes on, you got cash. So you'll start thinking differently once you have more money in the bank. You don't have to worry about so much. Then you can kind of focus more on your strategy towards investing. Then you do the dollar cost average. The people I listen to for investing are Dave Ramsey is number one, Graham Stephan. Even though I don't do mutual funds, I still like Dave Ramsey. I'd like indexes instead. Mostly because I don't really understand mutual funds. But Graham Stephan, Caleb Hammer a little bit, even though that's more like entertainment. I think Graham Stephan called him the Dave Ramsey of finances, which is funny. But dollar cost averaging everything. That's why I was putting $4,000 a month in there to slowly liquidate it. Instead of putting $90,000 in, within that 1 month period, I put 70 in there, and then I dollar cost average the rest of it. And that's kind of the approach I'm still going to do with this 35 or 40,000, depending if I sell this the rest of the NASDAQ here. That's what I'm going to do with this as well, once the market cools down a little bit. And reach the relaxation point. I didn't start to relax until I got over 200,000, which was in probably the last 6 months. Because like last spring, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I don't know, early 2024, I'm sure I have it in the videos here, I had 158,000, and now it grew to about 270, 278. I think my last video said 270, and I think I'm at 278 within this last week. So It fluctuates quite a bit now based on the market, but I didn't start to relax until after 200,000. That's when I would feel okay. Like, all right, I'm saving time going to Chipotle. I'm spending $1 to go to this to get a parking spot. Things to save time rather than trying to save money. Just especially just because that, I mean, if the market changes by 1% or 2, but net worth changes, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 or maybe more than that sometimes. So it's kind of pointless to track, I guess, because I'm not selling anytime soon. It's kind of fun to watch, but I'm more focused on, I don't know, not really focused on anything. I'm just kind of, not quality of life, but I can relax a little bit more. I don't have to try to penny pinch as much as I can because I already did that to kind of an extreme point by, save as much as I could. It's kind of what I talked about earlier. My current allocation heavily in the S&P. That's probably like 30% of the portfolio. Recently sold $10,000. I have $15,000 in NASDAQ. Once the market comes back up, if it does, I'm going to sell the rest of that 5 because it's going to get smashed if there's actually an AI bubble. And take more calculated risks. I talk about that in some of the other stuff. I don't do slow growers, even though I'm risk averse. I'm not grabbing any bonds or T-bills. Those are just too slow for me right now, and that's too risk averse for me. And do whatever you want. Everybody's got free will. Everybody's got different situations, different ages, different strategies, whatever it is. That's just what I do. Investment sectors for your 20s. I'm not a financial guy or nothing. This is just what I go into. S&P is highly in, I think it's like 35% is in technology right now, and I think it's in 10 companies. So if you're in the S&P, you're automatically in technology. I was also in the NASDAQ. I don't know why. Hasn't been growing, year to date as much as the S&P. So technology is good. I have like some of the Magnificent Seven, which is great. Defense is one that I haven't gotten into, but I probably will just because there's such rising tensions. Especially in Europe after the Russia stuff. Energy hasn't been as much of a grower, at least from what I've seen the last couple months from the indexes, but that's always a pretty stable one. Everybody's going to need energy. And healthcare. Everybody needs healthcare. Probably got spiked up, maybe a little bit overinflated after COVID. But I don't know. These are all like pretty good ones to go into, in my opinion. Real estate, utilities, consumer staples all seem pretty slow unless maybe you do some stuff based off of a recession. Like COVID, this one was huge. Energy, I don't really know which one that one was. Maybe before my time. Technology or just like entertainment and consumer staples was really big, I guess, during COVID again. There was a guy in a turban. I forgot his name, but he's on YouTube, and he broke down the recessions in each one from 2000 to now. He did that very well. In defense, things have been, rising pretty. I don't even know why I'm trying to summarize his thoughts. He did a great job, and I'm doing a terrible job at it. So note, this is general advice, kind of advice. It's just kind of what I do. I'm not really telling you to do anything. Not time specific, obviously, because I can't articulate my words about each scenario. Long story short, in your 20s, you can take more risk, you get a whole bunch of time, you can mess up. We're not talking about big money here anyways, just a couple $1,000s or tens of thousands. We're not talking about millions here, unless you're, I don't know, overachiever or somehow struck it good. If so, good for you, big dog. I avoid slow growers like bonds, like I talked about. Adjust based on your age and situation. Everybody's got free will. Ultimate why. Why do I do this? Why was I homeless? And blah, 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 blah. Money is a tool for me that I view as impact. Long-term financial goals should go beyond your personal comfort. If you have a nice car, nice place, nice couch, I don't know, you kind of get sick of it after a while. At least that's what I thought. Even just with regular stuff, I got sick of it. So everybody's got their own free will. Do what you want. Every dollar that I think I spend, though, is taking away. If you look at, episode 0 of what my life goal is, it's just basically to help people out and change abject poverty. Every dollar I spend now is taking away from somebody in need later. I don't try to be too hard on myself with that because I still want to have life experiences, especially if I travel for work or with friends. But that's what my everyday spending, like my rent is super cheap. All my big expenses that are usually costing a lot, transportation, food, rent, is really cut down. And then every once in a while I splurge when I go travel for work or that I'm with friends and help them out or help out other people or, do something nice for my family. Building wealth. Although other people would say different, I'm not hoarding wealth just to hoard it. The whole reason I'm doing it right now is because I'm building that base of the pyramid, and it's about creating the capacity to make a meaningful difference in other people's lives. This is at least why I do it, and this is my why. It's kind of hard to actually be dedicated to it, in my opinion, unless you have a why or a reason to do it rather than a car. Maybe you can do that for a couple of years, maybe do it for 10, 20 years, but I feel like, once you're 60, 70, if you're lucky enough to make it that far, you're going to get kind of bored of it and then just kind of look back and just be like, why did I get all that stuff? But I don't know. I'm 25. That's at least what I think. You can do whatever you want. That's the, joy of life. So hopefully this helped you out. If it did, please let me know. I do these just to refine my own thoughts, and then hopefully somebody, can relate to this and they can use it in their life to better themselves. But hopefully later down the line, I'll be able to refine, distill this, and make it much better so I can help more people and make it more clear. Because if you can't tell, I jump around a lot. I say a lot, and I'm working on my speech too. So there we go. Speaking of it again. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Peace.